I don't even like these people $1,200 worth. Chapter 3, The Super Sperm Chronicles. Life in the Bingham household eventually returned to its equilibrium of televised sports and mild disappointment. But a new cloud had gathered, the quest for a family. For months, Jeff and Audrey had been trying. It was a clinical, scheduled affair that involved thermometers, calendars, and Jeff having to stay out of hot tubs. A sacrifice he frequently complained was akin to the labors of Hercules. "I'm just saying," Jeff said, picking at a salad. "My guys are sensitive. They like a cool breeze. They don't like being boiled like lobsters. The doctor said you need to get retested." "Jeff," Audrey reminded him, "you've missed 2 appointments." "I'm busy. I have things." "You have a TiVo full of Pawn Stars," Audrey countered. Eventually, Jeff relented. The day of the fertility test arrived. Jeff sat in the doctor's office, clutching a small plastic cup like it held the secrets of the universe. He was nervous, though he masked it with bravado. "I have a good feeling about this," Jeff told Adam later that day at the diner. I really applied myself in that little room. I had to choose between the 80 for Vanessa Williams or the 78 Bo Derek. It was a journey, Adam. It wasn't just a destination." When the results came in, the doctor's tone was almost reverent. "Well, Mr. Bingham, it appears you have super sperm." Jeff froze. He leaned back in his chair, a slow, predatory grin spreading across his face. Super sperm? Did he use those words? Actually, yes, the doctor confirmed. From that moment on, Jeff was no longer a mere mortal. He was a biological titan. He walked through the halls of the apartment building like a king. "Hey, Bill!" Jeff shouted at a neighbor in the elevator. "Guess whose guys are faster than a speeding bullet?" "Jeff, stop it!" Audrey hissed, pulling him away. "You told the cab driver. You told the doorman. You're probably going to put it on a billboard. I'm a koi pond down there, Audrey, a teeming, vibrant koi pond." But the ego boost came with a cost. While Jeff was busy celebrating his virility, he was neglecting the emotional weight Audrey was carrying. The super sperm didn't change the fact that they still didn't have a baby. In a moment of rare vulnerability, Jeff found himself in the bedroom, staring at a broken fertility idol that Jen had given them. He had knocked it over while practicing his super sperm victory dance. "I broke it," Jeff whispered when Audrey walked in. "It's okay, Jeff. It's just a statue." "No," Jeff said, his voice uncharacteristically small. "What if it was the mojo? What if I lose the streak?" Audrey sat beside him. "Is that what you're worried about? Bragging rights?" Jeff looked at her. The bravado dropped away. "I'm frustrated, odd. I want to have a baby, and it's not happening. I thought it was my fault. And now that I know it isn't, I'm still scared." Audrey took his hand. "We're a team, Jeff. We're like the Mets. We have some bad seasons, we make some terrible trades, but we show up for the game." Jeff squeezed her hand. The Mets before or after you washed my lucky underwear? Before. She smiled. Definitely before. Chapter 4. The Art of the Brochure. While the Binghams were dealing with the biological, Adam and Jen were dealing with the professional. Adam, in an attempt to be the supportive fiancé, had landed Jen a freelance gig designing brochures for his architecture firm. "It'll be great," Adam exclaimed. "Work, Adam, and work, Jen. We'll have boundaries. We'll be professionals." It took exactly 4 hours for the professional boundaries to catch fire and burn to the ground. Jen brought her first draft to Adam's office. It was bold, colorful, and artistic everything Jen was. Adam looked at it, his face pulling into a grimace. "Yeah, I see where you're going here, but I'm just not sure about the colors. They're a little loud." Jen's eyes narrowing. Loud or vibrant. They're meant to update the client's image. I don't think the client wants to update their image, Adam said, trying to use his boss voice, which sounded remarkably like his asking for a cookie voice. "I think you need to tone it down. We're selling condos, not a circus. So you want it to be boring?" Jen snapped. "I want it to be a tool. The brochure is a tool. You're a tool," Jen shouted, grabbing her portfolio and storming out. The conflict followed them home. At the dinner table, Home Adam tried to apologize to Home Jen, but Work Jen was still holding a grudge against Work Adam. "I don't know," Jen said, stabbing a piece of chicken. "I think my boss is an ass-face." "Hey, that's me," Adam protested. "No, that's Work Adam. He's the one who doesn't understand art. You're Home Adam. You're just the guy who forgets to take the trash out." They eventually sought advice from the veterans. Jeff, naturally, had a pessimistic view. "I hired Audrey as my assistant once," Jeff reminisced. "It was the longest day and a half of my life. I realized I had to choose, lose a secretary or lose a wife. I chose the wife. Wait, no, I fired the secretary. You get it." Adam took the advice to heart. He decided to fire Jen. "You're fired," Adam said as he walked into the apartment. Jen blinked. "What? You can't fire me. I quit." "Fine. You're not fired. You quit." "Good. Because you're an ass-face." The next day, Adam presented Jen's original, loud brochure to the clients. He had planned to apologize for its boldness. To his horror, the clients loved it. "This is exactly what we need," the CEO exclaimed. "Something bold, something to update our image." Adam stood there, the weight of his ass-faceness pressing down on him. He realized that Russell Dunbar, of all people, had been right about one thing. Never underestimate the power of a woman who knows what she's doing. Chapter 5. The Optimal Male. The final hurdle of the season came in the form of a life insurance exam. Jeff, ever the competitor, was outraged to discover he was categorized as an average male. "Average?" Jeff yelled at the scale. "I weigh the same as I did in college." "Jeff, That's the happy scale Audrey called from the closet. The one that's 10 pounds light. The bitchy, accurate scale is under the bed. Jeff dragged it out, stepped on it, and saw the truth. He was 10 pounds over the limit for optimal male status. I have until Monday, Jeff declared. I'm going back to my wrestling days. No food, pure cardio. I will be